Hello! Today I thought I'd take a look at these new skin-coloured crayons that Crayola has put out recently and see what all the fuss is about, because I've seen a few videos around of people talking about them, so I thought I'd grab myself a set. There are 24 coloured pencils and they also have crayons and markers as well, but I'm just going to be looking at the pencils today, so let's get into it! So I picked these up in a local store called Officeworks, and I'll link everything down in the description below so you can go shopping for some of them as well. They were pretty cheap, and on the side it's got all of the colour names, like that. And as you can see, there is a pretty big variety just going off these little swatches, so I'm really interested to have a look at them. Okay, they look like they're all over the place in any old order, so I'm just going to drop them all out and sort them. So here they are, sorted into their three groups. These are Almond, Rose, and Golden. And I really like how they've named them. So basically, the Almond ones have the most in here. They are labelled extra light, very light, light, light medium, medium, medium deep, deep, very deep, extra deep, and deepest. These two are missing a couple of the ones that are in here. So for example, neither of them have very light or deepest. It's an interesting array of shades, and I think they've done really well just looking at them, at trying to incorporate everyone's skin tones that they can think of. Since I can ever remember, pretty much everything has only ever been flesh tint, and flesh tint is usually one of these colours here, so that's really brilliant if you aren't that colour, and I'm so glad that companies are finally starting to either rename some of their flesh colours into more realistic colours like dusky rose and beige and things like that. And I really am impressed by Crayola actually putting out a proper skin set with good names that pretty much try to cover everyone as possible. So let's swatch them out and see what they look like. I've got the sketchbook, which is a very thin, creamy paper, and I decided I would start doing some pencil drawings and things in it. I'm hoping this paper isn't too ivory to show off the colours, so what I might do is swatch them in here because I've already drawn it, and then I might just get a white piece of paper that is completely white and swatch them again just so we can see if they look different from each other. It's a bit hard to see the really light colours on this paper. I assure you they're there, but it was only about the light to light medium that you can really actually start to see them come out. And as you can see, there's quite a nice spectrum there from light to dark, especially in the Almond range with those extra colours. In the Rose one, they are much pinker and a much cooler colour. I really like the deep rose colours especially. I think those are really pretty. And the Golden ones are much warmer and lighter range altogether. Even the extra deep was quite light by comparison. So I'm just doing them all over again on white paper so you can see just the colour difference here. It wasn't too different, just that the Almond and the Rose are much cooler than the Golden, and they were warmer on the yellower paper, funnily enough. So I made a bit of a mess with the labelling of them. I don't know why I got them so confused here, and you'll see that the Golden ones I made a couple of mistakes as well, because for some reason I just got the medium and the medium deep mixed up and I'd mislabeled them. Oh well, it sort of worked out at the end, you get the idea. Oh my goodness, the names are so confusing. I got it right on here, but I managed to stuff this up a bit. They do show up a little more on here, but you could still see them a little bit on here. I don't think it's making too huge of a difference. It's just giving a warmer undertone to all of them. But it depends what you're after, so just do bear in mind that the colour of the paper will affect the colour of these pencils just a little bit. So, what do you think of these colours? I actually think they look pretty good. I'm liking them on here, so I'm going to continue on this paper. I think that they have got a pretty good selection of skin tones. I've been trying to decide which one mine is. I'm leaning towards somewhere in the light medium to very light area, maybe closer to the light for the most part. So I'm in that Golden range, I think. My skin is more to the olive side rather than the pinker side. If you've tried these out, which colour are you? Or are you one of these colours? Or do none of these colours match your skin tone? I would be really interested to know how accurate Crayola have managed to get their skin colours. Do let me know in the comments down below. Okay, I'm just going to do a bit of drawing, I think, with them today. I'm not going to do anything too complicated. I'm just going to sketch out some different faces or heads or something and maybe just try a few of the different pencils to see what they turn out like. So I'd gone onto Pixabay and just saved out a bunch of different people, both male and female, and I did a couple of warm-up sketches on this side, just doing more of a few facial features rather than the whole head. And I first tested out some of the darkest pencils, the deepest Almond, and this is the darkest pencil in all of the colours. So this was a man with fairly dark skin, although no one's skin is exactly one colour, especially when you have light hitting off various planes of the face, and then you do pick up a lot of other shades. And also skin is not just brown or pink, it is a mix of all sorts of other colours, like you'll see greens and purples, undertones, things like that. But for the sake of this set, we only had a few limited colours, so at least I was able to get some different values within the colour spectrum. Gradients, I can't remember. Here I'm drawing someone with really pale skin. Now their eye was blue in the photo, but I just coloured it in brown colours. Because to begin with I was only trying to use the colours in the set, but I did find that it was a slight problem because I really wanted a black, especially to colour in the pupils of the eyes, so I did end up actually digging out a few of my other Crayola pencils to supplement, and I also used some grey for one of them as well. So I ran out of time actually, and I drew some of these sketches while I was watching TV one night so that I could just colour them the following day. I had to actually take a couple of days off because I had the second dose of a certain vaccination and it really knocked me out. Boy, was I so under the weather for a couple of days. I had so many side effects, but I'm so much better now, thankfully. But yes, this was quite a struggle. I wasn't feeling very well when I was actually drawing this, so I was really tired, and the drawings, some of them are really better than others, like this first one did not work very well. And I also found that I struggled a bit more with the golden set, like they were a lot warmer and I was not having the best time getting the facial colours right, whereas I found the almond and the rose sets of colours were maybe a little bit easier to use, but in the end I quite often just mixed different colours together, so some rose and some almond and then a bit of golden as well. The golden ones work really well as highlights, especially if you've got a warm light shining on the face, and it really picks up golden tones, so I thought that they were really good for that, but on their own they were just a bit too warm. And so next one I'm drawing a man with a beard and a cowboy hat. I don't know what drew me to this picture, I think it was the hat, but I just thought this one would be fun. And this was one of the better drawings. I think I had a good time with this one. And you can see I am using some of the grey Crayola pencils along with the black pencil that I also found, and it was just a lot better. This one is going back into a lady with much darker skin, but even in this photo she did have some quite light areas on her cheekbones and her nose, and that was due to the studio lighting. So I found that the set was pretty good at giving a really nice range of colours from a much deeper skin tone into those much brighter areas caused by the light hitting and reflecting off. So this one was probably my favourite of them. I really loved the pose. It's so classical. Now I think you'll see with all of the drawings that I haven't really coloured in the skin very deeply. You know, I haven't gone over with layers and layers, and that's partly due to the paper. It's really smooth, and so there's only a limited amount of coloured pencil that will actually grip to it before the tooth just completely disappears. So I wasn't trying to cover this, you know, with a lot of pigment. Also, Crayola coloured pencils do have their limitations in that they are quite pigmented, but nowhere near as much as, say, your Caran d'Ache or a Faber-Castell polychromos, but they're not too bad, and I think they're pretty cool for sketching. I think they might work a bit better with toothier paper, but overall Crayola pencils are a lot harder, and so I tried not to press too hard onto the paper as well because it's quite thin and I would have just destroyed it. But I think it turned out okay, and I do like the colours. I was quite happy with this set. I mean, it was about $8 I think for 24 pencils, so you can't argue with the price on that. I'm calling it done. I am just too tired to finish it today, and I really want to get this video done for you on time. So I figured 4 drawings is enough, and I've got a couple over here as well. So yeah, overall, I'm pretty impressed with these pencils. I think the range of colours in them is really great. I mean, they are designed for children. I did have trouble layering them after a while. So I think they're a really great set just for sketching, and then if you use your more expensive coloured pencils to do a full final drawing, that would be great. But it's a really good set just to get some ideas on the colours you might use, and I do love the darker skin tones. I think they're really pretty. I think out of the 3 sets, I tend to lean towards these 2. The Almond is much cooler than the Golden, and as a set the Golden is a bit too warm, but I find that if you kind of combine some of them together it actually works a lot better. But most kids are probably going to represent a person with 1, maybe 2 colours at the most, so I mean, I'm just looking at this from an artist's point of view. But you know, they're pretty good for a set that was under $10. It was worth the money. So overall, these pencils are great for sketching and for using in colouring books. I'm sure they would be awesome, and I think that they have done a really great job at labelling the colours, even though they do get a little bit confusing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful, and if you enjoyed it, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and click that subscribe button if you haven't already done so, and I will see you all again in my next video. Take care out there, and I will swatch you later. Bye!